Hello, my name is Alan Hurt. Today I'll be discussing my design choices for my senior year social issue exhibit, as well as for my exhibit booklet. I chose food insecurity as my social issue because I've been affected by it personally at many different times in my life. Food insecurity varies from experiencing real hunger to not having access to enough food to maintain a healthy lifestyle to simply worrying about where one's next meal is coming from. So, in designing my 8 foot by 8 foot two-panel exhibit board, my first challenge was determining how do I deliver my message with minimal text that provides basic information and still has an emotional appeal. Well, after several iterations, this is one of my earlier versions here, I decided to include my face in my exhibit. So here you'll see I've included my face at the bottom under the faces of food insecurity because I honestly am one of those faces. I don't make much money at Starbucks, and I rely on a food pantry as well as some of the food I receive at work to supplement what I spend on groceries. But my most difficult design challenge here was determining hierarchy. I knew that my title and a brief description of my topic needed to go at the top, but what else could I include in this upper third section? I found some graphics that are related to food that I really liked, um, as well as including the donation website information here, because it doesn't require a lot of reading or interaction from the viewer. But I knew I needed my interactive elements to be accessible to various heights, so I placed them primarily in the middle third of my exhibit boards. For this lower third, I knew I could not really put any text that needed to be read or interactive elements because they'd be too low for a viewer to access. And after trying many visual elements here, I finally decided on the faces of food insecurity, and I think it has emotional appeal and makes this issue a bit more real. So for my interactive features, I wanted some things people could actually touch and some they just had to watch. My real-time counter here increases and shows the number of people affected by hunger issues every second. And I think seeing this number go up is more impactful and relatable than seeing a gigantic 9-digit number on the screen. I also felt like having a recipe search tool on a tablet was practical and helpful because we've all thrown food away that we didn't use soon enough before. One afterthought I have is I could have included a QR code here to make it easier for the viewer to locate that donation website and would have included yet another interactive element. So in moving on to my exhibit booklet, I would like to present a few layouts that demonstrate some of my design choices. So this first layout here is called Food and Time, and I think it best represents my visual system. It contains here a graphic of lemons that illustrates the effect of time on food, reiterating the topic of this page, and it shows that food reaching the point that it needs to be discarded. There's a detectable grid here with a linear dominance. I've created some really good, strong alignments, I think. I have included multiple colors. I've repeated some of the colors, such as this green over here in the header for this section. Like I said, the alignments are well defined and placed. I think my text here is concise and easily allowing the visual elements to dominate. And I think this shows a very streamlined approach that I like. Next layout is going to be called the what, when, who layout. And I think this best represents my content. I've repeated and reinforced my content here with multiple elements. I've provided 4 paragraphs, each containing no longer than 3 lines, answering some questions that give information to this problem of food insecurity. I've also used relatable emoji style graphics to reiterate the context of the text here. I've also included oversized interrogative words like what, when, who that have become more graphic elements that also provide some color, some scale, some dimension, and they announce and echo the content contained in the text. I feel the information here has been simplified, but presented in different ways, creating layered content for the reader to understand. And then the last layout I'd like to present is one I found very challenging and could definitely be improved. This is my table of contents page. I thought creating alignments and determining the best spacing here was a challenge for me because I wanted to avoid being boring and repetitive. I do feel I created some strong alignments, but now I see some missed opportunities that could be reworked. These bold text lines could maybe come up and align with the N over here in my header. And the third line of this text group could probably be lowered and align with the bottom part of the N here. My numbers could come up and either align with the top part of this bar of the T or the lower be lowered and align with the lower part. I feel I created a little too much space here between the three and four to account for the seam of the booklet, and that could definitely be tightened up. I also think this graphic here could bleed off the top of the page to mirror the header a little bit better. And maybe an alternate image would work better here that was maybe a little more abstract um, on a spread that really isn't trying to relay any specific information about my topic. But overall, I'm very pleased with my exhibit as well as my booklet, and I'm very thankful for this course. Thank you.